The Heavy Civil Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is an organization that represents members' interests in meetings and discussions with government departments, agencies, municipal councils, engineering consultants, and the general public. They are your voice in the road construction, water and sewer, and heavy construction industries. With their partnerships, they connect people, goods, and services through reliable, innovative infrastructure to boost prosperity and well-being in Newfoundland and Labrador.
It's a great place to work, right? You're surrounded by dedicated people who love what they do, and we're serving the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. You gotta love it. We're bringing brands to the province that we're proud of, we'd use personally, so it really makes us really happy to be able to share that throughout the province. I think what's unique is our connection to the province, to the people we serve, and where we live. At the end of the day, all the equipment we sell is meant to keep the province moving.
Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on day 2 of the Heavy Civil Association of Newfoundland and Labrador annual general meeting, conference, trade show. People coming together, sharing ideas. It's wonderful to see this industry thriving like it is. To our good friends at Harvey and Company, thank you very much for sponsoring this conversation, bringing everybody's voice to the floor. That absolutely matters. And speaking of voices, I'm very excited to have my next guest on. So, Jim, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure. My name is Jim Organ. I'm the ex-executive director for the Heavy Civil Association. I retired as of last September, but I had 13 fabulous years with the association, extremely rewarding. But for me, it was time to move on to the next stage of my life, and that's what I've done. But I certainly feel I've left it in extremely capable hands with Chris Mulcahy and Heather Tobin. 13
years with the association. Tell me how you've seen it evolve over time.
I think from what I've seen the association become much more professional in its approach. And when I say that, it's how they deal with the many stakeholders associated with the industry. First and foremost, its relationship, the association's relationship with various government departments, as well as the specific people and entities within those departments. Years and years ago, or before I came, or as I first came, it was very haphazard and not a lot of structure, not a lot of professionalism from an approach as to how issues would be dealt with. And I think that over the years, we've certainly streamlined a lot of that and tried to become much more directed in our approach to government. And when I say directed, an approach where we try to bring solutions with us, as opposed to going in and sitting down with different departments and complaining or saying that something doesn't work properly. So we've tried to, from a strategic point of view, come in a partnership role and present possible solutions and work with these stakeholders as partners, not as just someone that pays the bills or puts tenders out on the street.
It's important to sort of professionalize that whole conversation, that conduit back and forth, because there's much at stake here, not only in terms of money, but vital infrastructure that needs to be upkept. So important that comes together.
Absolutely, and it's not just a matter of putting it in place, it's putting it in place in such a way that the people, the stakeholders, taxpayers, government get the absolute best value for their money, and that the infrastructure that is put in place will last as long as it possibly can.
Right.
So that's a big piece of what I have seen over the past number of years. The professional aspect of dealing with government, with the folks that put the tenders out, and also other different government departments that are involved, and mines and energy with regards to pits and quarries. Been a lot of issues with contractors getting access to different pits and quarries across the province, which they need to provide the aggregate, the crushed stone, and other raw materials to produce the pavement or the concrete or wherever it might be. Right. And how we deal with those departments, I think, has become much more professional. So moving on from the department and the government and whatnot, just go back to the membership and what I've seen over the past number of years. And I've seen much more of a focus on what can we do for our membership, what can we do for our associate members to give them more value being a member of our association. And that leads into this type of event where people have the opportunity to come together and chat, to showcase their products, their services, to mix and mingle with the contractors, with government departments, with government folks who come here as well. So it's just been, definitely a lot of different types of improvement, but all focused on trying to provide more value, whether it be to the associate members, to the taxpayers, to the government folks, and to the individual members themselves.
Exciting times in Newfoundland and Labrador, a lot going on. There's a lot of sort of industries that are thriving at the moment, the more traditional ones thriving, new ones emerging, great deals being signed around energy and the like. And all of this relies on infrastructure underneath it all to make it all work. How are you viewing the future of Newfoundland and Labrador from your lens?
Yeah, listen, from my personal lens, I see the future for Newfoundland and Labrador to be extremely positive. The infrastructure is being put in place. You probably know that 5 years ago the government announced a $1.4 billion, or several years ago they announced a 5-year program to put $1.4 billion of infrastructure into the province. So we've seen increases in spending on infrastructure year over year. On top of the $1.4 billion over 5 years, they also have announced some twinning going out towards Come By Chance. That's another $150 million or so. Some passing lanes in the Port of Basque area. And of course, we've seen a lot of activity associated with the wind farms, with mining, with energy right throughout the province, which all relies on infrastructure, heavy civil work. So, this industry in particular, I think, is going to thrive for years to come. And I think if this industry is thriving, that will mean that the province is thriving in general. And
right.
That drops down to taxpayers, the individual people, to jobs, to quality of life, to the ability for the government to bring in more revenues and provide us with the services that we're all looking for.
Jim, you would have navigated this association and this industry over the last 13 years, and there's one thing that I've come to realize in my discussion over the last couple of days is that it's kind of misunderstood, right? People drive on these roads every day, they turn on their taps, right? Ships come alongside their harbor ways, and we take all that stuff for granted.
Yeah.
What would you tell people about this particular sector and the people that work in it?
Yeah, listen, I think what I would say is, you don't realize the dedication and you don't realize the skill level and exactly what goes into providing some of this infrastructure. It's not just paving. It's not just a matter of paving shows up on the side of the road and you put it down. It's a blend. It's putting together different aggregates, and the word I'm looking for is recipe. There's different recipes that you use to provide that product or service, depending upon where it goes down. Like, you won't use the same recipe
right.
for every single, each and every separate condition. That recipe changes depending upon whether it's a side road, a highway road, which is going to see a lot of traffic, hills where the pavement with big trucks going up and down will have a tendency to roll the pavement back and cause cracks or breakage in the pavement. That's a separate recipe for hills, that different polymers are added to make it all work properly. And and the other thing, and again, blacktop paving, you can see it, you drive on it, and everyone talks about it. But the other 50% of this association, the water and sewer contractors, and nobody seems to understand them. Because you never see their product or service. Everything's buried
right.
that they do. But the skill level required and the people required and dedication, and it's hard work, it's tough work, but it needs to be done. And they're often overlooked as a group within the province.
I heard one gentleman describe it as they quietly go about their work. They quietly go about creating all of this. And sometimes I think we have to stand up and realize, people are here, but the people that are doing this work, I've come to realize, they're across the entire province. These are in every nook and cranny. There are neighbors, there are friends, there are family that are doing this work.
Yeah. No, listen, absolutely, no question. And I would like to say too that my thought as well right now is that the people that we're dealing with within the specific departments, I've never seen the association and this industry work as closely with government as I've seen over the past 2 or 3 years, and that relationship seems to be building and improving, and it's becoming much more of a partnership type structure, and people are getting along much better than they have in the past for different reasons. But they've got some really good people that deal with our industry, and it has been a partnership, and so many meetings where people sit down, how do we solve this, and it's done on a conciliatory basis as opposed to here's what we want and don't ask us any questions. So, that's been huge in supporting the industry and making sure that things run smoothly. And it's so important that all of the parties do get along and can work together in that sort of a partnership type fashion. And we've been seeing that lately, which is tremendous.
What a wonderful way to end the conversation, to say that it is truly a partnership between government and industry here, and the end result is that the people of Newfoundland and Labrador get great services.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show, Jim. It's an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's a great place to work, right? You're surrounded by dedicated people who love what they do, and we're serving the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. You gotta love it. We're bringing brands to the province that we're proud of, we'd use personally, so it really makes us really happy to be able to share that throughout the province. I think what's unique is our connection to the province, to the people we serve, and where we live. At the end of the day, all the equipment we sell is meant to keep the province moving.
The Heavy Civil Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is an organization that represents members' interests in meetings and discussions with government departments, agencies, municipal councils, engineering consultants, and the general public. They are your voice in the road construction, water and sewer, and heavy construction industries. With their partnerships, they connect people, goods, and services through reliable, innovative infrastructure to boost prosperity and well-being in Newfoundland and Labrador.